Got me a new toy for Crimbo. Let's check it out. So pretty much box standard Carrera D132 car. I did already change the guide for a BRM replacement guide. Just pops in. So it's thinner, so it fits in Electric Sport Track. Now the magnet is still in there, and I'm not a big magnet racer. To each his own. I got no problem if you like magnet racing, but it's not for me. So I'm going to take this apart and get that magnet out of there, and then we'll see what happens. 4 screws to get the body off, and we've got a magnet here in front of the motor, and then another one right here behind the motor. You can see that one through the chassis, but the other one is hidden. So I'm going to need to remove the chip and the motor to get, and maybe even the rear axle to get those out of here. They should just pop out or screw out. Shouldn't be a problem. So the magnet in front of the motor had a little screw cap mounting thing. As soon as I took out that one screw, it just came right out. The one behind the motor had this U-shaped shim cover, but I used a sharp screwdriver to pry up one side, and then it also just came right out. So I'm going to pop this back together, and we'll see what it's like on the track. Alright, it's back together. No magnet. Let's see what kind of lap times we can get. So I'm just going to drive it around and make sure it's still working right. Oh, look at it. Sliding all over. Drift car. But we've only just begun. Let's see what kind of actual lap times we can get from it here. Okay, the timer is cleared. I'll get at least 2 or 3 laps before I check. Keep it clean, keep it clean. Slow is fast. Slow is fast. One more. Alright, let's see what the numbers are. 10.57, which is ridiculously long. So, I've already done a little scuffing on the tires, but let's give them a quick cleanup. So I'm going to use Scale Auto tire cleaner, not tire glue or tire traction, but tire cleaner, which is mostly naphtha or lighter fluid with some oils and stuff. Use a little battery to make the car go. And I'm just going to dab that on. So what that does is clean off any debris, but also kind of oil the tires, softening the outer layer of the tires, and hopefully get it a little more grip. So as soon as that's ready, in a couple of minutes, I'll see what kind of lap times I can get. Alright, gave it a couple minutes to do its work. Now we're going to see what we get. So if I get a beep, that means a faster lap time than before. Get a flying lap going. if I can get another one. All right, let's see what that is. 9.9968. 9.968. So the next step, there's a lot of things that we can do, but the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and true those tires. All right, to true the tires, first you got to pop it out of the car. Obviously, I've taken the body off. What I usually do is kind of hold some fingers in front of the tires and use my thumbs behind the tires, and then my fingers to press out. So that basically I'm leveraging the whole chassis both in front of and behind the wheels, and then my fingers to pop them out at the same time. All right. We can actually do that with the fronts as well, but I don't think I'll do that right away. Now, normally you'd want to glue the tires on, but I expect in the future that I'll be removing these tires, so mainly I want to make sure that they don't turn easily on the wheel, and they don't. They seem pretty well secured. So now we go ahead and pop it in the machine. Just line up the bushings onto the clips and push both sides in. All right, and now we get our split pulley and put it on there, and then we'll put the band on. So I got my 3/32 split pulley. Just going to put that somewhere in here between the bushings, and then we'll put the band over. So try to get the wheels as centered on the sanding drums as you can, or at least, evenly. Doesn't have to be, but that's just a thing I do. And then the pulley can be on either side, and it looks like that'll fit on either side. So I'll go ahead and stick it on that side, and then so you can see what I'm doing. Make sure it's all the way on the axle, and then just snug it down, finger tight, and should be good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I have the band just kind of over on this side. Just going to go ahead and stretch it over the wheel, and then onto the pulley. And then to make sure it's lined up, I'll go ahead and use my thumb to roll this over. Okay, screen went off there for a second. So I just roll the band over towards the other side so that it fits better. There. So this is the drive band from the main spindle to the idler, and then another band goes from the idler to the split pulley. They can be right next to each other, but you don't want them touching. But I want this to be pretty far over so that the wheels are more or less lined up. You see how close they are. Right there. See how it all runs together? Okay, so now we're going to fire it up. So I'm not applying any pressure. So we can see that just running free, it's pulling about 2.5, 2 3/4 amps at 3 volts. I can go slower if I want. Way down, this will even go down to like 1 volt. So it can go super slow, but I usually run at about 3 volts. And I'm going to go ahead and back this off until the tires start touching. We'll be able to hear the motor slow down, and we'll be able to hear the tires touching the drums. Slow down once you start getting close. There you go. And so I'm going to let that go a little bit. And then we're going to check to see which wheel is touching. That looks like they both might be touching already. So if one wheel is touching before another, then you can use this little knob here to move this end of the spindle down or up, so that you can make sure that both wheels are touching, both tires are touching the spindles at the same time. Right now it looks like I'm good to go, so I'll just keep going. With Carrera tires, you can probably not worry too much about overheating, but for softer tires like Sodded and NSR and Thunderslot and stuff like that, you got to be careful about overheating. So you can just push it down to let it cool off for a sec, and then let it keep going, or you can just turn the knob to relieve pressure. What you don't want to do is bog it down like that, right? So if we look at the amps on the power supply, it looks like free rolling is now at about 2.4. So with a little bit of pressure, it goes up, and let it go ahead and get closer to 3. You just don't want to overdo it. And every once in a while you want to go ahead and see what's going on. So we'll turn it off and look at the tires, look for high spots and low spots. Might need to get my glasses. It looks like this wheel has taken most of the sanding. So this is a long process. So you just kind of have to keep working at it. So I'll be back as soon as I'm done. Okay, so it only took a few minutes, and you can see that I've got the tires both trued all the way across the surface and all the way around the tire. I was able to speed up a little bit for these tires because they're relatively hard. But this is the goal, to basically make sure that the entire tire has been sanded all the way across and all the way around, to make sure that it's now perfectly concentric and round, concentric to the center of the axle and perfectly round. This also accomplished removing the kind of slick top outside layer of the tire. So not only will this absorb oils a little bit better, but it'll have better grip even without doing any more cleaning or treating. So I'm just going to get the dust off with a lint roller and put it back on the car, and we'll see what kind of lap times we get. Well, I've got the car open, and since this really should be done as a matter of course, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate the bushings. So we basically want to put one drop in each bushing, both forward and both the front and rear axle. So I just get a drop going, put it on the axle, same for the back, or same for the other wheel, and same for the front. And then give them a little spinny spin. I'll make sure it's in there. This will kind of ease any vibrations that are caused by imperfect axles and bushings, and just make sure it rides more smoothly. Because any source of friction is sapping your speed. Right, and I'm going to get the body back on and we'll test her out. Alright, so got the body back on. Clean the tires of the dust. Let's see what kind of lap we can get. I did not reset the timer, so that's a faster lap than we got earlier. I just don't know what it is yet. So I'm not looking at the clock. Looks like I might need to clean the tires again. Yeah, let's see what kind of time we got here. Probably still a 9 something. Yeah, 994. So not a big difference, but I haven't done anything. I haven't put anything on the tires. So let's do the old tire cleaner again and see how much of a difference that makes. So this should soak in a little bit better than before. But like I said before I did on the Truer, I'm likely to replace these tires. These aren't the best tires without magnets for Scalextric Sport Track. If I did urethane or even silicone, they'd be much better with no magnet. I prefer urethane for a variety of reasons, but nothing wrong with silicone. Alright, just get that rubbed in real nice. And where's my paper towel I was cleaning my fingers with? Here it is. Give that another second to soak in. Alright. We'll start with a flying lap here. Okay. Alright, let's see what we got. Still not a whole lot of traction with all that tire spin. Might have made it worse. Wow, okay. Still not beating that lap time. That just goes to show you stock Carrera tires are not good for magless racing on Scalextric Sport Track. So what will I do from here? Well, the next best thing to do is replace the tires with urethane or silicone, whichever you prefer for your track. Or put the magnets back in. There's a lot of other things that can be done, but it's not really worth doing until the tires are hooking up right. So I'm going to leave this here, and maybe we'll revisit this car at some point in the future, but probably not until I have a reason to race it against other guys in this class. So that's it for now. See you guys